What's up, Earth's mightiest subscribers? It's Ernie, Blerd without fear. Welcome back to the channel. So, we finally got it. Doomsday Clock, though a week late. Yeah, hey, what are you gonna do about it? Anyways, Doomsday Clock is back with number 8. That means we are 2/3 of the way through this really amazing story arc that Geoff Johns and Gary Frank have put together. It's really amazing. This one's a little heavy. I mean, maybe at least it was for me, just because, the implications that are being given here. It's probably a good idea that Bubastis is on the front cover of this book. Unless you got the variant where there's some really cute puppets of Superman and Dr. Manhattan, but neither here nor there. But before we get started, it only takes 2 clicks to become one of Earth's mightiest subscribers. Click, click. At the start of this book, and I'm gonna go ahead and get this part out of the way because this is kind of a softball. This book, I mean, it kind of opens up, gives us a little bit of that Lois and Clark action. We get to see Clark Kent and Lois Lane just having a normal, whatever kind of day at the Daily Planet, which is, it's cool. It's interesting to see. But the real reason that we are here today, we're not here to see Perry White as editor talking about Great Caesar's ghost and going off on Lois Lane and Clark for wearing a blue suit and Lois for being lazy, whatever. That's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about the envelope that Lois Lane got at the end of Doomsday Clock number 7. And what we learn is that inside this envelope is a thumb drive. There are videos and information about the Justice Society of America. And the reason why this is kind of a big deal is because you gotta remember, the Justice Society of America have pretty much been written out of existence in the DC universe, most of which thanks to Dr. Manhattan messing with the makeup of the universe. This actually lends a little bit of credence to something that they've been talking about a lot in Doomsday Clock, the whole big overarching plot of Doomsday Clock, one that's real easy to not pay as much attention to because most people have been focused on Superman versus Dr. Manhattan because that's kind of what DC wants you to focus on, because there are other story elements that are going on here. What is going on here? They are talking about the Superman theory, the theory that 97% of all superheroes come from America, that they are manufactured, and these are the new weapons of mass destruction, which is not far-fetched to think about when you go back to the original Watchmen story arc. Dr. Manhattan, though he technically wasn't created using, the Superman theory, but he was used as a nuclear deterrent to stop other countries from getting out of line. Basically, what we learn here is that maybe that's what the Justice Society of America are, at least that's what they're kind of hinting at. Now, we don't really get clear-cut evidence as to who was the distributor of this, this letter, at least not in Doomsday Clock number 7, but I'm gonna go on a limb and say that probably the easy money right now, because originally I thought maybe it was Rorschach, but now I'm thinking it's actually something quite different. I'm actually thinking because we know Ozymandias has snuck into the White House. We know he has broken into the White House and stolen government documents. I'm pretty sure maybe those documents were what was pertaining to the Justice Society of America, and he gave those to Lois Lane, probably trying to get her involved, because if Lois Lane gets involved, Superman's gonna get involved, because that's just how Superman works. But that's not the whole, main big deal about Doomsday Clock in this issue. No, actually, this issue is kind of heavy, depending on whether or not you have a cold heart or not. But one of the things that's going on, we know Firestorm has come up quite a few times in this comic, and what happens is he goes to Russia to confront Pozar, who he blames for being outed as a product of the Superman theory, because that was one of the things that Pozar said when he was being interviewed, when they were talking about, the whole Superman theory and Firestorm and all that regard. Also, technically, Killer Frost outed him too, but he is coming after him because he wants him to admit that he lied. And when he goes there and he's trying to fight him, and, of course, keep in mind that Vladimir Putin has his own Justice League, things get out of hand when Negative Woman gets involved. And when she flies through Firestorm, she messes with the connection between Ronnie and Professor Stein, knocking his flame out, causing him to fly off the handle and, kind of have a panic attack. And as the people of Russia are crowding around this fallen Firestorm and wanting to hurt him, because as far as they're concerned, they feel like that he's attacking the people of Russia, they swarm him. And I mean, you can probably take a wild guess what they're about to do. They're probably about to put hands on him. But in the midst of his panic attack, he unleashes an inferno of fire. First, I thought, man, this dude literally just unleashed an inferno so hot that he burned these people. He literally glassed them. But that's actually not the case. It's actually not exactly exactly what happened here. You gotta remember that Firestorm has the ability to transmutate stuff. He's basically Full Metal Alchemist DC comic style, even before Full Metal Alchemist was even really a thing. But what he did here is he transmuted organic matter, which is kind of funny when you consider the fact that up to this point, he's only been able to transmute inorganic matter. And as far as the Russian people are concerned, Firestorm just committed a terrorist attack on Russian soil. He has killed these people, effectively is what they think. As far as they're concerned, there is no turning back for them. And Superman does eventually track down Firestorm. He has one of the children who was a part of the group when he let off the blast that transmuted them all to glass. And this is when we learn that the reason why Ronnie is freaking out is because, yes, he's never done this before. He's never been able to transmute organic matter into inorganic matter. It's usually inorganic to inorganic. And now that he's done this, he doesn't know how to turn it back. He wants to be able to do it. He wants to prove that what he did, he can undo, but he just doesn't have it in him to do it. And this is where Superman, and this is one of the, like, I always talk about how Superman is not my favorite superhero, but I understand why people love him. And this is one of those moments where it's like, yes, he is so optimistic. He comes in, he talks to Ronnie, he talks him down where Ronnie is at his darkest hour and just unable to even see a way out of this. He doesn't see the light at the end of the tunnel, but Superman is literally sitting there the whole time saying, look, man, you got this. You can do it. If you turned these people from flesh and blood into glass, you can turn them back into flesh and blood. Of course, also having Professor Stein back at his head, you know, he's got himself back in the game. And he does manage to transmute the kid back to flesh and blood. And this is at this moment that Superman and Firestorm realize we need to go back to Russia and straighten this whole thing out. But here is where the problem comes into play. Vladimir Putin has already decided that this is an act of aggression. He is not having it. He feels as though his people were attacked and that it was the United States that did this and no one is coming forward. But when Superman shows up, Vladimir Putin is actually open up to the idea of saying, hey, okay, cool, let's hear what you got to say. But at the end of the day, no matter how many times Superman tries to explain to them that yes, this happened, this should not have happened, but it can be reversed. And it's at this moment, Batman, while flying around the Batwing, he realizes what's happening. He's like, hey, look, you don't realize what you're doing. You don't realize you are picking a side. What you are doing is dangerous because you have kept this neutral standpoint for so long, and now you are about to make a choice. You defending Firestorm is making a choice. Not only are you siding with the United States against Russia by defending Firestorm's actions in Russia, you are also defending metahumans against normal human beings. And of course, Superman, hearing everything that Batman is saying, he's still not taking it in. It's one of those situations where you're literally watching Superman do the right thing, standing up for metahumans. And once again, why I respect Superman in the same way I respect characters like Captain America, because he literally just comes out and says, he says the demonization of metahumans is wrong. The demonization of any group of people is wrong. But unfortunately, in the eyes of Vladimir Putin, Superman backed the wrong pony. And when Firestorm shows up with the child that he transmuted back to flesh and blood, the Russian military just starts unloading on Firestorm, causing Superman to have to get involved, and he has to try and block these bullets because had he not done this, the child would have been killed. And not only that, the fact that they're shooting at Superman, gotta remember, the people that were turned to glass are still behind them, so they are being shot and as a result being shattered into pieces. And in all the chaos between Russia's super team going after Superman and Firestorm trying to subdue both of them, things get even worse because the military with all their tanks starts running over the people that were turned into glass because as far as they're concerned, they are dead. They're not seeing the reason that these people can be brought back. And when Superman attacks the Russian tank, that's when everything just goes to hell in a handbasket. Because as far as the media is concerned, Superman is attacking the Russian military. They're not seeing the full picture. And with Firestorm now freaking out because now these shattered pieces of glass, he doesn't know how he can fix this because when they were all whole, he had a better shot at it. But now that they've been broken apart, he doesn't think he can even make this happen again. He doesn't think he can fix it. And he starts to detonate again. But this time, Superman's here. So Superman clearly is going to try and save the day, Firestorm actually does manage to get himself back under control, and Batman, who seems to be fast-tracking himself to Russia in the Batwing, realizes that the energy spikes that are going on, the signatures that he's reading, it's not Firestorm about to detonate, it's something else. But before he can even warn Superman, it's too late. The detonation goes off, and everything as we know it, at least as far as Russia is concerned, is obliterated in a bright blue light. Meanwhile, Ozymandias is watching from far away, and he is quite pleased with the fact that he has set off the event that he needed to make Dr. Manhattan bend to his will. Whatever Ozymandias' plan is now, whatever it is he's trying to do, whatever that is, has finally been set into motion. Now, that bright blue light, I think we could take one easy guess as to who or what it was, and I'm pretty positive it was Dr. Manhattan. Because you gotta think about the fact, all this stuff that's going on, metahumans being out of control, all this insanity that's been going on because of metahumans, Dr. Manhattan, he pretty much expressed in the last issue that he wasn't really crazy about it. He kind of doesn't care for it. And now what they're dubbing as the metahuman Moscow massacre has occurred. This is going to fall squarely on the feet of Superman and Firestorm, but more importantly, the United States. All I know is that with this issue, we know the Justice Society are, that much closer to being brought back into the DC universe as a whole, and we also know that Dr. Manhattan is, well, Dr. Manhattan is coming for Superman's throat. Now, I won't lie, initially I was kind of more in the camp of thinking that the idea that Lois Lane was teased as, getting involved in the events of Doomsday Clock, it was kind of the low-hanging fruit to think that, oh, maybe something's going to happen with Lois, maybe she's going to be put in danger, and that's what's going to cause the whole fight between Superman and Dr. Manhattan. But no, I think it's actually going to be something just as simple as when Doomsday came along back in the 90s and killed Superman. I think it's just one of those situations where Dr. Manhattan has done something that is so egregious, so irreprehensible in Superman's eyes that he feels he has to put hands on him. Now, at the end of the day, I'm going to tell you right now, there is no universe in existence where Superman would even be anywhere near close to being able to run Dr. Manhattan's fate, but I don't necessarily think this is going to be some straight up wash on Dr. Manhattan's part either, even though technically, if anything, Superman would be the one getting washed on this one. With that being said though, let me know what you thought about Doomsday Clock number 8. Sound off in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, Hulk smash that like button. And if you want to see more awesome videos like this one, make sure you click subscribe so you can become one of Earth's mightiest subscribers and tap that bell so you know when I post up. And if you want to become one of Earth's mightiest patrons as well, swing on over by patreon.com/blerdwithoutfear. And if you chuck in a buck, you can get some exclusive content. And if you don't want to become one of Earth's mightiest patrons, that's fine too. Hey, all I ask is that you like this video and share it with your friends. And who knows, maybe they'll become some of Earth's mightiest subscribers too. Anyways, thank you for taking the time to watch this video, and while you're here, go ahead and check out some of these other videos I got floating around here. But until next time, Plus Ultra!